Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeremy. This is Strange Radios, back with another book review. Didn't plan on this one. This one is very off the cuff and slightly fueled by whiskey. I read a book. It's been on my shelf for a very long time. I finally got around to reading it, and it just captivated me for several days in a row. That is this book, The Telling of Lies by Timothy Findley. Timothy Findley, Tiff, as he's otherwise known, a Canadian author, writing from the late 60s to the early 2000s, I think, before he passed away. Wrote a number of novels, a couple short story collections, a couple memoirs, and quite a few plays. So yeah, I discovered Timothy Findley not too long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now at this point. And I read his debut novel, The Last of the Crazy People, which blew my mind, just for his writing style more than anything. It's a really captivating story, and it's a very short novel. So I would suggest, if you're looking to get into Timothy Findley, that might be the place to start. But yeah, he is a very, very fascinating writer. Tends to go on tangents here and there within the story, like the characters themselves, the way he writes them tend to go on tangents. But in these tangents and throughout his writing proper is this wonderful, amazing, and emotive way of describing things and of bringing meaning to things. He's a very beautiful writer, very capable of painting a picture in your head just by the use of words. Yeah, some of his novels have moments that are just stunning in terms of like the actual mechanics of writing, like just wonderful, wonderful pieces of work. So yeah, having found out about Timothy Findley a couple years ago, I'm really upset that we didn't read his work in high school, considering he's a Canadian author. You'd think we'd be all over that, but anyways, so I've over the last 2 years been working my way through his bibliography. This is the latest one I read. I've read four other novels, and I have another one sitting on the shelf waiting to be read. Probably cover that at some point too. Interesting thing about this copy is 4th edition, but because Timothy Findley did live close to me, you do find autographed books now and again. And he being my favorite author now, that's really cool. I own 5 of his novels, 3 of which I've found autographed. Anyways, none of this is about the book. Let's get to the book. The Telling of Lies, a Mystery. And that's what it is. I mean, at its core, it's a murder mystery. And that's another interesting thing about Findley is that he did, I think, 10 novels in his entire career from 1969 till 2003, 2004. Only 10 novels in that entire time. And each novel is quite different in terms of genre and in terms of plot and characters and location and whatnot. He's sort of one of those artists that whatever his chosen field of art is, these kind of artists, they do that one thing once, they do it to the best of their ability, and then they move on to other aspects of that field of art. Findley was very much like that in the way he wrote his novels. He did a drama piece, did that to the best of his ability, then moved on to a period piece, then moved on to a novel about war, then covered a reimagining of biblical events, and then this one, a murder mystery, just a straight up murder mystery. And in terms of actual the sort of things that would go into defining a book as a mystery novel. Findley, I think, hits those points of the genre wonderfully. He doesn't make it too obvious. He sort of builds suspense. He builds empathy with the characters, those involved. You do hope that they all sort of acquire what it is they're looking for, because multiple people are looking for multiple things. And he even makes those who are not particularly on the protagonist side, makes them sympathetic as well. So a quick thumbnail of the plot, because when it comes to mystery novels, you really, really, really don't want to give too much away, because it kind of ruins the whole point. But I'll give you a quick summation of the beginning of the novel. Is that the novel is told through the point of view of this 50-some-odd-year-old woman named Vanessa, who every summer returns to the same hotel up in Maine. And every summer, the same cast of people return to this hotel. And it's been like that since she was a little girl. They've been coming back. And so she knows these people only through her time at this hotel. But she knows them very well. They're all very close. And this time around, one of the other patrons of this hotel dies, to put it succinctly. And so, it starts off as just sort of a murder mystery, and it quickly branches out into I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of conspiratorial moments that pop up that suddenly blow the story open in ways that you wouldn't have expected. I'm trying to choose my words carefully, especially having not thought about this video beforehand. So yeah, it's a murder mystery that really gets out of hand, and it's captivating and it's emotionally gripping. And Timothy Findley, I think this is the only mystery novel he ever did. Again, I've only read, I guess about this point, I've read half of his novels. And I don't know much about the remaining half. But I think this is his only mystery novel, and I think he nails it. He knocks it out of the park, as the kids say. His trademark beautiful writing is present here, even in this genre. He's able to expound upon views that the main character holds, while keeping the story moving forward. His wonderful, beautiful prose is still present, and it's one of those things. As a writer myself, that's what draws me to Findley the most. I think is just his natural ability to write. Which, I mean, if we admit it to ourselves, most writers aren't great writers. Yeah, handles the genre elements very well, brings his own unique writing style into it, and creates something very wonderful. I will say, though, there's one drawback to this novel that is an honest criticism against it. When the story gets to the crest, the pinnacle of curiosity, of the mystery, is right on the edge of being revealed and unveiled and solved as it can be. Right when it's on that precipice, he's still engaging in his tangents. The main character reflecting on things in her childhood. He going on some beautiful, wonderfully written prose about the environment and the situation that these characters find themselves in. And it's, like I said, it's wonderfully written, but when the suspense is building up like that, you kind of don't want to take time out to engage in that fanciful writing. As wonderful as it is, at that moment in time, it sort of detracts what you're trying to accomplish, which is to build suspense. That's the only criticism I have of this book. Otherwise, this thing was wonderful, fascinating, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm gonna say that's it. I would highly recommend it. If you're into mysteries or thrillers, check it out. Maybe it might be a little slower than you're used to because of his penchant to go on tangents, and his writing style might be a little more esoteric than typical mystery novelists. But I would still recommend it. If you haven't checked out or heard of Timothy Findley, please read some of his work. Wonderful, wonderful writer. Like I said, The Last of the Crazy People, his debut novel from late 1969, I do believe, 67, 69, somewhere in there, is, I think, his shortest work, and that's a captivating novel as well. Very good stuff. I've also read The Butterfly Plague, which is a great book. I should probably talk about that at some point. The Wars, which is heralded as one of his greatest moments. Great novel. Admittedly, I like other novels that he's written better, but The Wars is still really good. And the other one I read was Not Wanted on the Voyage, which is a very good book as well. Starts off a bit slow, then gets captivating, and then gets almost shocking. And so yeah, if any of those sound good, I know those are all very, very brief synopsis, but if any of those sound interesting, please check out Timothy Findley. He's a wonderful writer, and I wish more people knew about him, because like I said, he's my favorite author, and the way he writes is very much unlike most other writers. And that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching. This has been Strange Radios. Stranger, adios.